we explore hip sweeps and related throwing techniques. This is the Kitsune clan, a group of sword enthusiasts who like cosplay, reenactment, and historical martial arts. If you have similar interests, feel welcomed. We already looked at distances of different throwing techniques using the same base mechanics, and we will continue here doing so. Before we get into today's topic, a short repetition of what we already know. We can get closer to the opponent or less close, and in all cases use the same mechanic. We just saw Juji-seonage, the most distant type of shoulder throw. It is so distant because we fold both arms over each other and then there's not space of diving deeper into the opponent. The next one, more commonly known, is shown here. That's Morote-seonage. Here in comparison, we can see Morote is a bit further in than Juji-seonage. Juji-seonage shown on the left, Morote-seonage shown on the right. Compare the relative position of the head of the person throwing and the person thrown, and you can see the distance. We of course already know we will now move further in here with eri-seonage, grasping the other side of the jacket, and then as a next step kata-seonage with grabbing the other sleeve. Today we will now look at distances with the legs, and that will differ from the arm grips. Here in comparison, Morote-seonage and eri-seonage. See again a bit further in, and same now for kata-seonage. Here the distance is even further in. If we then compare all four throws, we can see the successive pattern. And then we will do the same for the leg movements. Also move in from the outermost one to the innermost one. If you still need to see again the details for the different grips, I will link this video in the description box. For the legs, we will also have several distances, and we start with the inner side of the foremost leg. We attack the closer leg at the inside. This throw is generally called Uchi-mata ashi to make a difference to another throw that we will look at next. Uchi-mata ashi is a very powerful throw. A lot of people make it very high, so they stick their leg far up. This is in fact not necessary and accounts for all the throws we look at here. Next up, Uchi-mata koshi, so the further in leg, the further away leg, attacked on the inside. The motion is extremely similar, everybody can see that immediately. The distance is the different here. We are a bit closer to the opponent than we were before. For the next throw we have to cheat a bit, otherwise we end up in the next view. We want to throw at the front of the leg, and therefore we put our leg a bit crossed. We end up in Hane-goshi. As number 4 in the series, we attack the outer side of the further away leg with Harai-goshi. Now we have 4 classical judo throws that use exactly the same mechanics for the throw, but differ in how deep we enter into the position of the opponent. We can expand this quartet of throws by some more unusual ones. If we enter even deeper, then we will attack the further away leg more on the outside, so basically giving a pulse to the side. By this, the opponent will not be thrown to the front, but more to the side. This can be interesting if a second opponent is attacking, and we can throw the one opponent more in the direction of the second opponent. I'll link in the description box a video where we deal with fighting more than one opponent a bit in more detail. And now that's it. It's 5 throws and more is not possible with this mechanics. Not entirely true. We can move further away and use the same throw mechanics. I have not specifically seen this in Judo, but in other Jiu-Jitsu styles and in other martial arts. So in Bujinkan, the leg mechanics would be Ganziki Otoshi, although the grip at the jacket is different here. It's possible to vary the distance even more. We can move down on the leg. This brings us, in fact, even further out, which is then a variation of this Otoshi type throw. Probably not so healthy on most streets because your knee touches the ground, but on the judo mat and in other environments, a well possible throw. But now you should wonder, I've seen this mechanics and I know the term otoshi. I know it from osoto otoshi. Yes, this is the same mechanics, just the opponent is reversed in position. For the throwing person, there is no difference in execution of the throw. Some people are aware that Osotogari and Uchi-mata basically use the same mechanics, but you have to once at least having thrown a backward hip throw, or sotogoshi, to get the deeper understanding of that. We have now a sequence of 7 throws where we can move from the furthest away position to the innermost position and look for the differences. For example, here Uchi-mata ashi and Uchi-mata koshi are clearly differing a bit in the distance. With the koshi version, I'm closer into the opponent. I have to block him further or stronger to be able to make this throw effective. Or better, vice versa, I plan to make the base movement in a certain way, but depending how deep I can get into the opponent, I will have the one or the other throw. And that's also the idea behind such sequences. You don't plan on a specific technique, you plan on a specific move, and depending how the situation develops, you will end up with the one or other throw depending on how far you get into it. You could just see how subtle the differences are between the 3 throws, and even more so when we add now more. If you check videos on YouTube, there will be judokas that consider Hane-goshi a type of Uchi-mata, and there's a lot of discussion about this type of terminology. Bringing this together with the grips can help us also to understand which grip can be combined with which leg movement. We will further explore these aspects in future videos, but for now, we hope we could inspire you and see you around next time.